people who are our Patreon supporters who might be watching this podcast in full HD video,
Hello.
notice that I'm relatively clean shaven. I've
You
got
are.
quite a clean look. So in town where I live,
And I've grown a little bit of a beard just to even it out. I've grown what Charlie would grow in a day.
I sent Will
3 weeks.
well, you know what actually triggered it was the last episode of TOFOP we did. I had a quick glance at the video and I was like 2 weeks or maybe even close to 3 weeks unshaven by then. And the webcam I use is kind of like it's like a real, well, it's a HD camera. It's got a built-in silking mechanism, which is like virtual makeup. But even then I was like, holy fuck, like I look terrible. Just like everything looked bad and the beard was all like uneven and fuzzy. I looked like a werewolf, it's like he caught a werewolf mid-transformation. That's what I looked like.
He's so embarrassed. He's like, oh, no. Nothing's happening in here.
What? No, don't come in here, Mum. Don't come in here. So I was like, well, there's a barber in town. And I stuck my head in. And I love a barbershop that does like a cutthroat razor shave and a hot towel treatment. Uh-huh. There's a very few ways that men, especially masculine men like me, can pamper themselves. Yeah. Like, sometimes your wife or your girlfriend or whatever.
Sometimes you're just a manly man who likes to be pampered.
I just want to get pampered occasionally. There's not a lot I can do. I tried getting my nails done once. It sucked. Didn't enjoy it. Tried to get a pedicure. Very uncomfortable. But this, I feel very like, I like getting shot. I like it when they take it all off. They put the hot towel on and just sit there and you've got at least like a minute just to sort of feel that piping hot steam just open up your pores.
I cannot think of anything, just for the record, more unpleasant than what you're describing.
Oh, really?
I don't like a clean shave. Won't do a clean shave even myself. I always just do beard trimmer. And I just don't like the idea of like somebody having a knife that close to my throat, regardless of their level of professionalism. If I'm going to hand them less than $100 in cash at the end of that interaction, I don't want them having a knife by my throat. I don't feel like the stakes are high enough.
Mate, I've had a knife held to my throat in all corners of the globe. India, like Bali, Vietnam. Like,
what's the least you've paid someone to hold a knife to your throat?
I mean, it probably would have been Bali. Like, it would have been the equivalent of it would have been less than $10 for this guy.
So for less than $10, you're willing to walk into a venue where you don't know the person who's being paid less than $10 and have them just have a knife to your throat, are you? You're fine with that?
Never had an issue with it. It was like when I used to live in Melbourne.
That's what people say until they're murdered by a barber. You ever heard of the Barber of Seville, my friend?
When I lived in Melbourne, Carlisle Street used to have like a whole host of Eastern European, old like Russian barbershops, or maybe it's Ackland Street, Carlisle, like whatever the demarcation line is.
Because the one thing we know about the Russians, famous for their haircuts.
Yeah. I came out peroxide blonde, flat top, just like old Dolph Lundgren.
Always good to have a whole bunch of ex-Russians who fled to another country and have immaculate knife skills. Yes, I'm sure they all trained as barbers. That's why they're so good with the knife.
So I saw this barbershop. They did the cutthroat razor and the hot towel. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to spoil myself, and I'm going to get a clean. I just want to get a clean. And the thing about me and shaving is because I am quite hirsute from here to here. And when I shave myself, like, when I'm on TV and stuff, there's sometimes a requirement for be clean shaven, and it fucking sucks. Like, I'll use whatever.
You have to shave between scenes often because you're going so fast on your face.
Sometimes. But it's more that those those Mach 3 whatever Gillette blades, I can't shave with those and just not get ingrown hairs. Like, I know that they're meant to, there's like that old D-Generation sketch. The first blade like lures the hair out, the second blade negotiates, the third blade sneaks around the back. It doesn't do that for me. It just all they do.
But they are the best ingrown hairs a man can get. Let's not forget that.
They just fold the hairs back into my face. So I'm clean shaven for a day. And then for the next like 6 days, I've just got like spots all over my face and neck.
Firstly, this just proves that your hair is coward. Like, as soon as it sees a blade, it retreats back inside. Keep charging out, my friend. It's like, no, thank you.
That's bullshit. My hair is the toughest mofo going around. It's not going to fight 3 blades on one, but you go one blade with my hair, it'll take them on. So, and the thing about like cutthroat razor shave is you don't get the ingrowns because it's all moving in one direction, and it's just like because it's so sharp and so meticulous as it scrapes down your neck and skin. It
Sharp
just
and
clears
meticulous.
those hairs.
From this practitioner who's been paid less than $10 an hour. Sharp and meticulous. The one thing that we can always rely on for less than $10 an hour, meticulous execution.
So the way the barbershop in town operates, it's old school. You can't book. It's just walk-ins only. You got to write your name literally on a chalkboard, and then just either you can leave, but if you run the risk if you don't get your timing right and you come back and someone's jumped you, bad luck. It's not like you can say, "Hey mate, that's my name." If you've missed your spot, you've missed your spot. So I went in, wrote my name down, came home, had a shower, went back, and like I completely miscalculated. Two dudes had jumped the list, so all right, I'll sit around. So I waited about half an hour while these two guys got their trims, and then it was my turn. And so I sat in the dude's chair, and it's like, "Hey, buddy, so what can I do for you?" And I said, just want to get the razor shave with a hot towel. And he's like, "Okay, cool." And he's like, "I'm not going to do the cutthroat razor. I'm going to do the foil on you." And I was like, "Well, hang on. What do you mean foil? You mean like an electric razor?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I said, No. I mean, that's not what I want. Because I know it'll get really close to your skin. And so it'll be really smooth. It's like, yeah, exactly.
Mate,
and I can't stand those foil shavers. Look, this is not going to be another shaver episode. But
why not?
Let's briefly touch on. I have very sensitive skin for a very macho dude who's very astute from hair to here.
Very much, but just in that bit.
I'm so sensitive. My skin is so sensitive. It can't take like that much friction. It can't take. So I said to the guy, "Look, no. I said, I don't want I could do an electric razor shave at home. I want the full old school deadwood cutthroat razor and hot towel.
That's what I'm here for, mate. I didn't put my name on a chalkboard for an electric razor."
Exactly.
This is meant to be an old school experience, and then the dude brought out like a modern razor. No, thank you. Yeah. That's not what you're here for.
It's like, the Rolling Stones are touring again, and it's actually just a CD. It's like, wait a minute, this is not the real thing.
I could just play this at home. Well, I couldn't actually because I don't have a CD player.
So I said to him, no, I'll cut the razor. I said, look, if it's an issue, it's fine. I can just book another day. And he's like, oh, no. Then he's gone.
Just been drinking. I've just been drinking a lot. And my hand's really shaky today.
He said,
really?
He said, I haven't had lunch, so I'm a bit, and I'm like, oh, okay. I said, it's fine. I said, don't worry about it. I said, it's not that important. I'll come back another day. And he's like, no. I'm like, no. And he's like, no. And I'm like,
I'll push through it. I'll push through my shakes.
So he's like, no, it'll be fine. So I'm like, okay. And so then the
I haven't had lunch and I haven't had a drink for about 12 hours and the detox is starting again.
So I'm like, okay, look, fuck it. He's a professional and
what are you basing the idea that he's a professional on?
He works in a barbershop.
He's the guy who has a chalkboard and an electric razor is what I've heard. I am a professional based on that. There's a chalkboard out the back of my house and I have an electric razor.
Well, do you want to trim my beard?
Well, I could with an electric razor. I'm not putting a knife anywhere near your throat.
So, and I do like the process of they work up the old school ladder with the old school brush and they paint up your face and stuff like that. Well, you know what was funny is he actually gave me a bit of a trim. He trimmed the beard off with clippers to begin with. And it got to the end of that, and I was like, oh, I'm actually quite okay with this look. Yeah. But then I was like, well, I've committed, so let's go on the whole hog.
Shakes the clowns.
Shakes the clown.
Out,
so he gets the old leather brush going, and he paints up the old beardy area and stuff. And then he even gets out the leather. It's called a strop. The leather strap to sharpen. And I'm like, fing. And I'm like, oh, this dude, he takes it serious. So that's how I know he's a professional. He knows how to sharpen a cutthroat razor on a strop.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
So he begins the shave and I felt like I was in very safe hands. I did not feel shaky. He was going extremely slow. And I think that I'd be interested to know if maybe on a full tummy, whether it would take him this long to do it or if he was just
really concentrating.
He was really concentrating because he was
literally stone person driving, getting pulled over at 35 kilometers an hour because he's just concentrating too much.
He would move it, I would say, a centimeter every 20 seconds. So it'd be straight.
That's too slow.
It's great. It's great. It was because I literally had a meeting on at 3 and I'd gone to the barber's at like 1:45 thinking, oh, I'll be home in plenty of time. Maybe
that's the whole
half
point
an
of
hour.
the barber, in and out.
But I'm like, oh shit, I'm going to be late. So then like he's when he gets about like halfway through, I'm feeling relaxed. I'm enjoying it. This is the thing, like I said, that, you know, men don't get pampered. Like I just sit back and feel the smooth, that blade against my skin. It's relaxing. The sound of the fishing. It's like Wolverine is slowly behind you, just like chopping you up. Mm-hmm. But then it's around about 3 o'clock. And so the schools start getting out, the local primary schools. And I guess that this barber, because, you know, it's a small town. And, you know, in small towns, everyone kind of knows each other. And I guess it must be a bit of a tradition that when the kids get out of school, the primary school kids, they come past the barbershop and they're like, hey, you know, blah, 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 and they have a bit of banter, you know, because he's the barber. I can't remember what his name is. But, you know, he's the barber. And so the kids have a bit of banter. So I'm sitting there relaxing with my eyes closed. And I hear like a group of kids, like you hear a footy getting bounced and stuff. And, you know, they're standing outside the barbershop and they're having a chat. And he's having a chat. How was school today, kids? Oh, yeah, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then there's like sort of this like silence. And one of the kids goes, oh, that looks pretty smooth.
Oh my God.
And I've got my eyes closed. I'm like, I'll just ignore it. And like, then I hear like the little like pad of footsteps. And then then at the same voice, but louder this time because it's close to my ear. Oh, real smooth.
Oh my God.
It's like clearly some like 8-year-old has like come for a closer look. To see the full video, join our Patreon.
Patreon.com/TOFOP.